So here we go. Let's do this relatively quickly. Let's add a still, and we have the still up here. I'm just going to drag it down right here. And oh, by the way, if you let it go in here, you see how that turned white? Now it wants to know if you want to replace, insert, or whatever. Just cancel that out in that case, because what we want to do is put it right over the top. And we can trim that down, and you can adjust the opacity at this point if you want, but generally you save all those tweaking things until the end. And let's go back to our projects, and let's get something out of the raw. I don't know. I'm just taking something here. Maybe. Let's see. I think we made a clip down here, didn't we? So let's see if we can find that split. And there it is. I guess I saw it there. I'm gonna find it. There we go. How big is that? 41 seconds. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit. Well, let's go down here. Here we go. So I'm going to Command C. So let's go back in our up here. We can just do our project 1, and let's go to the end. Or you can. There's an end on your keyboard. There's an end button. You can just press end. Now Command V, and there's that clip that we just did, and so on. Let's just say that's all. That's all we want out of there. But you see how you build that. And by the way, you can switch these around, if you want, and if you can put it on top too. But I want to put it at the end. I'm kind of scrunched up here because I want to get everything in the space that I'm recording, so I can show you. Okay, so in audio, let's go back in the audio. If that's the one you want. I don't imagine it's going to be too many. Let's take a bit of this, and I'm going to just take like so. We're going to put it right down here. Let's trim that down a bit. Now you notice if we play that, it's loud. You can't hear the person talking. That's so typical of audio. By the way, it says 100% there. That just means that's 100% of as it's imported. That's 100% of the volume. So you typically want to take that way down for music.
What brought you to Gainesville?
Yes, I was born.
And you'll have to just use your ear for that. Okay, let's take a little closer look at this audio. Now, in most professional video editing programs, you're going to have the ability to check your actual audio levels numerically. And I mentioned that your levels should be between 6 and 12. And actually, 6 is a lot louder than 12 in the decibel range. But iMovie 10 doesn't have levels. There's no levels meter that I can see. So what I think they're depending on is checking out these waveforms, and when they get in the amber color, that means they're right around, they're getting close to 6, and when they get in the red, they're definitely distorted. They're way up in the, like, past 6, maybe in the 0 level, and that's way, way too loud. So you're going to have to kind of go by your ear, and one of the best ways to do it is keep things relative. So in other words, if you have some audio that you put down here, you want to be able to hear the person speaking. And if you look at these waveforms, if they're really down low like this, that's a really good indicator you need to raise them up. So let's take a look at this clip right here. This is just some audio, it's music, and I'm going to bring it right down on the timeline here, and as you know. And also, one more thing I want you to notice here, when I brought it down into the timeline, it also gave it its name. How about that? That's pretty cool. Did not notice that until just now. So, let's see if I can get the clip size a little bit bigger so we can see that. There we go. How about that? Okay, now you can see the tips are red and it's at 126%. If I really raise that, I think it's just clipping, which means it's just cutting the top of that off. It's just severe distortion. But that red indicates that is way too loud. So that's something to watch out for. See, look, I'm lowering it down. And so the amber and the red are going away. And you're just going to have to adjust your levels kind of this way. Adjusting levels comes at the very end where you would both raise and lower. And we just keep on adding audio. I don't think we can put a title over the top of this. Let's try it. I'm pretty sure not. We're going to put a title right on the, let's pick one here. Let's just, how about this? No, you can. Okay, very good. You can. So you can put a title up there. And it's, it's looking down on the stack, so it's looking the title, the B-roll, or in this case, a still image, which is obscuring the person talking down there, your primary. Okay, so if you needed to do that, you could. I know that it has a limitation on how much you can stack. But I'm pretty sure we can't put another piece of B-roll up there, for instance, and I don't think you can stack two titles. Let's try this, and I'm going to take this off. Just drag this down. That's where you see how it fell down because it was not. It could fit in the gap. So let's do that again and see what happens. Yeah, see, you can't stack two titles. So I'm just going to highlight this or Command Z. Which does delete your last move. So I'm going to just delete that. So there we go. I think you're pretty much limited to two of each. So you can't get a third. You can't get a third piece of video or still on the stack, and you can't do two titles. So there we go. But that's not bad. I mean, you can do a lot with that. Okay, so we have our audio down here, and remember, quick review. You click this, and remember showing the audio waveforms, and this is a clip size too. I mean, if you want, you can play around with that. I think it's the lowest it's going to go right there. You can make them really big if you wanted to, but that's totally up to you. The show waveforms I think is really useful, so I always leave that on. So there we go, because showing the waveforms tells you where people are speaking, and those are excellent places to make cuts or trim. So here we go. Let's talk about the transitions. Now we haven't talked about that, and let's take a look here. See if we can add a transition. I'm going to play through by hitting the space bar. Okay, that's a jump cut. That's called a jump. It's just that startle. That's just because he changed position in just an instant. It's from 0 to 60, just that quick. So you could put a transition in there, and if you click on transitions down here, you get all of these, and you can just take your pick. Cross dissolve is by far the most common, and that just shows passage of time. So we're going to drag that right down there. I'm going to click it down here in this position and use the space bar to play through it.
In this building, we've had
now you'll notice that it also transitioned the audio as well, so that's something to watch out for. So what would be the best solution here? Instead of a transition, you probably want to go up here and get a still. That's your best bet. We're going to trim that way down, and let's play through now.
In this building.
It's just a more graceful approach than that kind of creepy looking transition. So you'll have to use that with your discretion, what looks the best. So that's why you always need a lot of B-roll. And so there we go. Let's just say that we have our timeline all built up, and now we have our rough draft. And what you want to do now is go ahead and put your titles in there. Now, since this class uses subtitles, we'll get into that second, and I'll show you a workaround for that. But titles up here, you've got all of these great titles, and let's just pick one at random. How about this? There's these lower thirds, which would be typical if you wanted to identify the speaker or anything that appears on the screen that you just want to identify. Now that's going to be a bit problematic for this class because you're doing subtitles. So you might have to put it up here, for instance, if you were using a title over a subtitle, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's just get an introductory title, and let's just enter this one here. And so I'm going to just drag it down, and I'm going to put it in the beginning, and you see that it pushed all the others out of the way. So cool. So go in here and just put, let's just make a real quick title with Mr. Now you see what's happening. It's actually reducing the size of the font on its own because it's on auto. Well, that's okay. So let's check this. This is important over here. Check when you're done. Oh, it did do 2 lines. Okay, very good. So I started out with 1. I don't know why it's doing that. That's strange, but it's some of the things you run into with iMovie. So what we want to do here, let's go ahead and reduce the size of this font a bit. I think that was what's causing the issue. Maybe 102 and check it. Let's see what happened. There we go. Well, now it just went over there. And I think the reason it's doing that is because it's actually zooming in, and when it gets to a certain point, it realizes that it's going to be too wide, so it's taking liberties with your decisions here. So these are the kind of things you're going to run into. I hadn't expected this to happen, but it's a good illustration. So at that point, let's go to the end here, and let's choose something. I'm going to double click this again, and let's choose something that actually will fit in there. And let's try that. Let's check it and see what happened. Okay, so what I did was I recognized that it was getting too wide, and all I did was reduce the font size. Okay, so there we go, and that's your opening title, let's say. And I think we can do 2. Let's try that. We can. It gives you an opportunity to do 2. So let's and let's put by. Let's go in here. Let's do this here. By I don't know. Let's see, Joe Smith. Okay. So suppose we want both of those at the same time. It's going to look kind of funny because we got that zoom, and you can't do anything about that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see if I can't return this and make it, because I don't want it to overlap. And yeah. So here's some of the problems that you have. See, it's not gonna, it doesn't let you. You can't. I'm gonna highlight this down here. And okay, so that one's not going to work for the second one, is it? So let's try another one that I think will work. And we want something that will allow us to put spaces in there, and I think this one will. So I'm going to put that on there, and let's put by, and we can get rid of that. We don't really care about that, but let's go up here and put some spaces in there by returning. There we go, and that's a workaround. Very good. Okay. Let's take a look before we check this to have it accept the changes. We're going to, it has an outline here, and let's just toggle this O back and forth. And you see it makes it a little bit brighter. It's got an outline. You just have to play around with these until you get one you like. So I personally don't like the outline. You can make it a little bit smaller if you want. So it's at 115 now, so maybe, I don't know, 80, something like that. And we can put another space here by hitting return. And that might be a workaround. Let's check that, and let's see what happens when we go and play that through. There you go. So we have two titles that are stacked on each other, and that's a way, a really good way that you can be a lot more creative with these titles. You could just have one too, and you have to choose one that's not going to, like this one down here. It is not really conducive to having several lines. You could, but they're all going to be doing this kind of motion, which might look kind of strange. So use your best judgment there, and let's see how that. Are you against? Okay, so it just kind of jumped right in. This might be a good place to put a transition. Let's try the cross dissolve there, and let's see what happens. Let's play that through. Are you against? Very good, very good. And we might trim this back a little. Let's play through and see what happened. Are you a Gainesville native, or what? That's cool. And you can even start your music a little ahead. Let's take a look. See, I try to drag the music, and it turned red. That means that's the end of the clip. So you have to drag it down a little bit, and we'll drag this over. These are the kinds of things that you're tweaking. So let's play this through. In fact, we can put this whole thing down here and drag this out. Whoops, not that far. I'm going a little bit too fast there. And let's go back. Put the playhead here. Space bar. Are you a Gainesville native, or what? Okay, very good. That's a quick intro. Well, let's just say you want to. Let's put this down here, and let's say you want to put a title in here. Well, you can. Let's go back to our titles, and maybe something like this. Just drag it right in the middle. See, everything moves down. Very good. And Gainesville. And let's get rid of the rest of this, and we don't need that. I'm just deleting it. And let's check it. And let's play through, see what happened.
Right now, I'm on a committee.
So you see how you would do that. Very, very simple. Let's say that let's go ahead and delete this out. Or well, we've already gone to all the trouble to make it. Let's put this up here. So we're just going to save it. Let's put a background in here, and we haven't talked about this, maps and background. These maps are great fun. I'm gonna these are animations that it does. I'm just going to keep it over here, and I'm going to play through this. And it does. You can start at San Francisco, for instance. You can put any name of any city in there. You have to kind of get it in the general vicinity, though, of what it's already got as a reference. So I'm not going to put a map in there, but you can play around with those. They're a lot of fun. But here's some backgrounds, and this is what I wanted to show you. And you can put this down here, for instance, okay? And this, like this. Now watch. See? Now you got a background. Very cool. So you have all of these backgrounds. One of the omissions in iMovie 10, which actually iMovie 9 had a little bit better. You could double click on this, and let's see here, and you could just audition these different ones, but you can't now. You have to go ahead and drag it. You have to drag it down in there. So I'm going to do Command Z to undo what I just did, and let's just say I want this pinstripe. Well, this is the one time where, remember, if you hold it on there, it says, what do you want to do? Replace. We want to replace it, so we're going to replace from start, which gives us the exact duration. So here we go. Very cool, very cool. Okay, so here, that's the way to get our backgrounds. I'm not going to go through, well, let's put a map in here. Let's do a map, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag this one in here. Let's see. You see, it's kind of, this is where your processor is going to come in. These that have these red marks like this is going from one place to another. So let's drag this down here, and we're going to let it generate. So let's play this through. Okay, and we're going to choose a, let's choose, I don't know, well, let's see, how about, no, not Canada. How about Oregon? And instead of Salem, which I'm not sure where that is, but we'll put Eugene, Oregon, and we'll hit done there. Okay, now let's choose another one. How about Brazil? I'm just choosing that. Now, that was the second one. Watch what happened. There you go, all the way to that place. And see, this little thing means from here to here. So if it wasn't Salvador, you might find, well, let's put, I don't know, Waldo, for instance. There you go. And we don't, you can do that. You can't change the actual point on the map, but you can change the name. There it went down to Waldo, South America. So play with those maps. I'm going to, well, I'll just leave it up there. And there's different kinds, really, really cool, old world, do all kind of things like that. Okay, there's one, I'm going to put another piece of B-roll in here. And how do we do that? Go back to our B-roll. And I'm going to just choose a little section right here of these fish. And remember, if I put E, it goes to the end. There we go. So we got this bit of B-roll. And we don't need quite that much. So how do we tell how long it is? By the way, it's 5 seconds. So take a look at this clip. These fish are swimming, and also we're hearing the ambient audio there. Well, the problem with this clip is that it was shot without a polarizing lens. So we've got this haze. That's really, really typical. Let's do a video, maybe a color correction on this, and let's see how this works. Okay, now we haven't talked about this, but here's our tools up here to do that. So we highlight our clip always, and let's go to this color correction, and you'll see that now we've got some sliders. This is your highlights, this is your midpoints, and these are your dark points, or your darks, the black. This is the white. This is the white slider, the midpoint, and the dark. So let's see what happens here. If we, I think that we need to really increase the contrast there. So or reduce the contrast or increase it, I guess. Increase the contrast. So I'm doing the slider. You see, there's a big difference. Now the mids, what I'm trying to do is make a lot more contrast in here. And that was a big difference, wasn't it? So that's one way you can do some color correction. It doesn't do a fantastic job, but it can do some good stuff. So let's play that through. And I'm gonna. There we have. Looks a lot better, doesn't it? Here we have the original clip. So what I did was I hit this reset button, so everything went back. And what do? We just increased the contrast, and we adjusted the mids to make them a little darker. The midpoint is just the range in between the absolute white and absolute black. So if we hit this right here, we lose our tool bar. And I just want to show you that's how you get it, back and forth, back and forth. This shows you that there's something applied there. And you know, brings up your toolbar there. This was trying to do it on its own if you press the enhance button, but you see that looks pretty red to me, so I'm going to revert. So let's do this one manually, and we're just, like I said, we're just doing this by eye, and there we go. Over here you can put some different colors. It looked a little blue, so I slid it over to the yellow side, and this is just your saturation. This is the midpoint. You can see it's less saturated. You can make it black and white if you want, or all the way over really, really saturated. So in here you're going to be withdrawing or adding color. It was already blue and I added a lot more blue, but I want to take some out by going towards the other side. So there we go. All right, very good. So there we have from here to here. It looks really good. Let's play through. Looks really, really, really good. So you can play around with your adjustments. Okay, and you see how you build all of this, and you're going to put a title at the end. So you're going to just click on title, and we're going to go, let's just do this pop-up just for fun. We'll put that down here, and we'll just say the end. Okay, and check it, and let's play that through. There you go. And it should fade right out of there. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. The next thing we're going to look at is our subtitles. And that is something that iMovie is not really that prepared for, because we're using it for a specific purpose. So let's end this now.